Good morning. So I want to talk about procrastination. Um, Procrastination is something that I am also dealing with, and I'm understanding kind of what it is about. Procrastination is kind of like a fear of. There are different sides to it. Okay, so we're going to go through the couple of different sides. So there's the part that is the fear of commitment and fear of getting deep down into the rabbit hole with something, so we procrastinate around it. And there's also the side of when we're procrastinating around something, a lot of times that's because we don't know exactly what it entails or how to go about it, and so we just don't touch it. And so there are many different sides to the procrastination, right? So when we don't know what to do, a lot of times it's better just to not touch it until we do have a better idea of what to do about it. But this is also a trick, like a trickster, because because sometimes we need to just begin to do something in order for the path to open up for us. Sometimes, all the time, we need to begin to do something because we can't see the entire path from where we're at. We can see where we want to go, and we kind of can see the path. And then because we can't see the exact path, we don't start working towards it. And then we procrastinate, and sometimes it just falls off the plate and disintegrates into the past. And if we want to progress in our life and we want achievements in our life, then we have to overcome this procrastination and actually begin somewhere. And sometimes beginning somewhere is just beginning, even if we don't have the path. It's just starting and allowing the path to open up for us. But this is also kind of tricky because sometimes we don't want to. If the path isn't clear for us, then it could be that it's just not a cooked enough idea yet, and that if we wait for a day or two, then the idea will come. Then all of a sudden we say, okay, we want to go down this path, and we leave it for a minute because we're not finding how to go about it. And we leave it for a minute, and then a couple of days later we'll be like, oh, now I know what I need to do, and then it will just start taking off. Or sometimes we procrastinate because it's not something that is aligned with our higher being, and our higher being knows it, and so it's waiting to fall off the plate, right? At any given moment, I have like 15 different projects going at once, and I used to be like so I used to be so under pressure about it. I have this to do, and I have this to do, and I have this to do, and I would hold my head and I wouldn't do anything. And what I realized is that it's a good thing to have 15 projects, even if only 3 get achieved, because 3 projects achieved is way more than no projects achieved. And a lot of times when you have 15 projects, not all of the projects need to come to adulthood or need to come into existence. A lot of times you have 15 ideas so that you can choose the 3 that do get your life power, and the rest fall off your plate because they aren't aligned. And so with procrastination, it's like you have to kind of feel around it. And procrastination, the other part of procrastination is the fear of commitment into something, because we have so many different places that we want to apply ourselves, that we have this idea that we want to put ourselves into, but we procrastinate around it because we know that it's going to take all of our attention. And what if it doesn't work? What if we put 2 weeks into a project that fell apart and it didn't work? Or it's something that we don't especially like doing. We want to have it accomplished, but we don't especially like doing it, so we keep on putting it off our plate and doing other things instead of doing this. But typically it's because it's something that we have some kind of fear or some kind of push against. something that we are afraid that it's going to take over our lives. Maybe we're afraid that it's not going to succeed. We're afraid of not knowing what to do. We're afraid of committing into it. We're afraid of having to go into those fine little details of, because when you start a big project, you have to go in really into the nitty gritty, into the fine little details. And a lot of us, especially when we have post-trauma, and almost every single one of us has post-trauma to some extent, some kind of traumas that we went through in our lives. And post-trauma it takes away from our focus. And the reason that it takes away from our focus is because we are constantly in that alert stage. We're in that place of being alert because we are afraid that if we get completely immersed in something, then then we will be off guard, because we are in constant guarding of ourselves when we have post trauma. Then we are in constant, like we're on guard. We are in that constant alert. That means we constantly have our mind buzzing. We're in constant alert because something could come in and rock our boat, and we want to be alert and ready for it because we're afraid of something coming in and moving us. And so then if we indulge in complete focus and getting completely immersed into a project, we lose that alertness. And that alertness it's an animal instinct. It's an instinct of, when you're out in the jungle and you are away from your tribe, and there might be lions and there might be bears, and you need to have that alertness. But when you are in the comfort of your tribe, you can go deep into meditative state, and you can go. That's why meditation helps so much on the spiritual awakening and for the healing of the mind, for quieting the mind and allowing us to go deep into things. So procrastination, a lot of it is, there are reasons around the procrastination. And so sometimes procrastination just means that you need to sit on it a little longer, and let whatever it is cook a little bit more. And sometimes with procrastination, it's just ripping off that Band-Aid. Just get started. Okay, there's something that I need to do. Okay, right now I'm not folding clothes. I'm not doing dishes. Whatever else needs to be done can wait, and I am putting myself with purpose into this project and starting. And so this is also a video for myself, because I have been procrastinating for the last 3 or 4 days around my new project that I am working on, that I need to make. My idea is to make a TikTok movie around olive wood products from Bethlehem, and I don't know exactly how to go about it. I'm trying to think of different ways to go about it, and so then I don't have any way of going about it. And what I've decided is that it doesn't have to be perfect. It's trial and error. So I am going to try, I'm using AI also to help me figure out scripting and good ideas, and I'm just going to go for it. I know how to edit video. I can make 3 or 4 different TikToks and put them all up and see what happens with them. There are no restraints with this. It's just making decisions. I think procrastinating is also around making decisions. We don't want to have to make a decision, because when you make a decision, you are a lot of us have a hard time committing to decisions, right? Because it's within the decision making that you have to commit. You have to make a decision. When you make a decision, all other options fall, right? Because you're working on one path. And so I think that also with that's also something with the commitment in relationship, because when you commit to one person, then all the other options fall off the table. That's why a lot of people have such a hard time in committing into anything, because it takes you, it makes you put all of your attention into one direction. But there's so much power in decision making, and decisions are things that we have to make throughout life. You can't go through life without making decisions, because your whole life, in a day, we make thousands of decisions, and the minuscule decisions. Even making this video is a decision. Deciding what to talk about is we have to commit to things in order to even have a life that is meaningful. And in order to have power in our life, we have to be able to commit, and we have to be able to commit to anything. So if we want to make achievements, we have to have the capability of committing to something. So procrastination is also practice in commitment, and commitment is a tool for life. If you know how to commit to something, right? Commit, but not blindly commit, right? You have to commit, but also keep your eyes open, because so if you commit to something and it starts going in the wrong direction, you're committed and you're committed and you're committed. You could waste years in commitment. I did that in my marriage, wasted years in commitment. I can't say wasted, because I stayed a lot of years after it was really bad. But it had to be that way. It had to be that way for me to get up the ability to leave. So I can't say that. That's a little side note. But I think that also with that is part of the when we go through divorce or big things like that in our life, then afterwards we are really careful where we commit. But procrastination is also a lack of commitment, or a fear of commitment. So it's kind of like you have to find the balance with, just like anything else, you have to find the balance between commitment and flexibility, and the ability to cut out all other options, make decisions, and create movement. And sometimes it is a matter of just starting where you're at, even if you don't see the path. Just do whatever the next obvious step is. Just start. Open up the program, that the editing program. Opening it up and then finding the first frame. Going into AI and asking for help with deciding on a script, on what would be a catchy script. How would I, going in, using AI, utilizing AI. So there's all these different parts of it. So that's my spew on procrastination, and also my own self-work. This is something that I'm working on. I'm sure that many of us are working on the procrastination. If you want some kind of movement in your life, you're going to have to dedicate, and you're going to have to commit, and you're going to have to create movement in that direction, and you're going to have to start somewhere, and you are going to have to make decisions. So sending you guys so much love. Thank you for watching.